Back with another episode, and I'm my co-host, but today I'm with the one and only Daniel Freitag.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you for having me.
Of course. Real quick, how would you describe yourself?
Shoot, that's pretty open-ended. I just say unpredictable and outgoing.
Word. I feel that. Real quick, before we really get into it, what shoe did you sell that's made you the most money to get you that the shooting machine?
Dang, that's some good info. I don't know how you know about all that. Dang, I don't know how you know that.
And was it more so like, were you a sneakerhead in the past trying to get your going, or what happened?
My brother, he was super into shoes. So
yeah.
I'm still not even super into shoes. I just like selling them, so I'm not super knowledgeable, but I know what I'm doing a little bit.
Okay.
But dang, that's a good question. I don't know. I haven't thought about that.
I feel it. What made you want to start selling to be able to afford it? And what did the shooting machine represent? Because I know you did it while you were young, but do you know that it was going to be such an investment for the future?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I sold shoes and clothes for I think a summer after I broke my collarbone, so I could afford a shooting machine, the thing that returns your shots back to you in basketball. But shoot, I knew I needed to do something. I didn't like having a boss. So I was like, I want to make something. So I just made an Instagram. Got on the resale page, followed a bunch of resellers, and then, really just started asking people if they had shoes to sell, bought them, sold them. And then once I got up to that $4,000, I bought that shooting machine.
What do you think the shooting machine represents to you?
Man, I mean, I think I look at it, I barely use it now just because it's at a gym that I don't really go to anymore.
Yeah.
But I just look at that as just kind of what do I call that? Like an item to kind of represent, how far I've come.
Okay.
There was a point where I was selling shoes and clothes to afford something to shoot the ball back to me. I feel like that's pretty I don't know. It just makes me look back and kind of be happy with how far I've come.
Yeah, I feel it. With all that growth, I feel like one of the main things that got me interested in interviewing you in the first place, I wanted to ask, what happened your sophomore year for you to jump from 10 points to 26? Just out of nowhere.
Yeah. So I played basketball and football, and so once I broke my collarbone the first game in football season. So that whole football season I was out, which gave me more time to focus on basketball. So that extra focus on basketball, and then the seniors leaving and kind of leaving a leadership spot for me to take.
There's a gap in the space.
Yeah. Those two things kind of helped me get up to that 26 points per game.
I feel it. Honestly, I feel like it gets tough trying to focus on a set path, and especially during injury. Was it a chance for you to really sit back and dissect the game? Do you just go and get a lot stronger? Because if it's one of the things I've noticed, especially when talking with a lot of Division I versus just people that just stay in high school, right? The one main difference is the physicality that comes when you are better than everybody else. Because it's if before it took you 3 moves to get to your spot, but now you can literally just one move and get past anybody. It's a different way.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think, with it being, so I broke my collarbone, so I wasn't able to do really upper body.
Okay.
And so I was doing a lot of lower body, but I mean, you could tell now I wasn't hitting it that hard. My legs are still not huge. So, I really just took that time to just make money, to be honest. And making that money bought that shooting machine, which helped me out once I was healthy. So while I was hurt, I wouldn't say that I got too much better. All I could do was watch film and make money. And so I set myself up for success once I was healthy.
Okay. So it's more so a mentality thing than anything else then.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it tough trying to get inside the zone and actually understand what's to come before you?
It's not really, to be honest. I think if the stakes aren't high or not high, then it can be tough, because then it's I'm locking in for what reason.
Okay.
But I think when the stakes are high, it's kind of I'm aware of what's in front of me, so I kind of just, I don't know, rise to the occasion kind of.
Yeah, I feel that. Honestly, I'm kind of the same way. I hate trying to, for example, running. I hate just going outside and running. Yeah. But if it's let's run fives or play football or play soccer, there's a reason for me to actually push my body to actually get it. Have you always been a confident, competitive individual, or is it more a thing that you've learned from your brothers?
I think I kind of just learned it for myself.
Okay.
I think growing up, I wasn't super confident, and I was kind of always getting pushed around a little bit. So, and that came with hanging with older people.
Oh, yeah.
And then also growing up in a city. So I grew up on the opposite side of the city of the school I went to. So I grew up on the Kennedy side instead of the Jefferson side. Those are the two high schools. And so like I'm getting pushed around and kind of bullied a little bit at the parks and playing basketball and stuff like that. And so I think through that and then coming out of it, that's where the confidence has come from.
Word. Real quick, let me take a step back. When you're talking about your injury, did you get injured a lot? Like, do you think that you tend to get injured a lot, and that's kind of how you do advance? Or,
I mean, I want to say no, but I've had 3 surgeries, so I guess you could say yeah, I get injured a lot. I think it's just because I play a lot. Like I broke the collarbone playing football. And it was trying to make a catch that, and I caught it. Okay. But just like a catch that probably I could have just let go. Okay. And then I tore my meniscus trying to get a touchdown that I could have just let go. Okay. And then I rolled my ankle. That was just freak accident. Okay. But I mean, I think it just comes from me being so competitive. Like if I was just content with, just getting tackled or letting the ball go by me, like I probably wouldn't have got hurt. But I've just never played sports that way. So
you wouldn't be a D1 athlete if you're going to let a lot of stuff like that go.
Exactly right.
I feel it. Question, how did you get into the football aspect of your game first? Or was it basketball that's made you start off?
I think both were just around me when I was younger. And then that Tavon Austin mixtape, I don't know if you're familiar. I used to watch that like every day. So I liked football more than basketball up until like a year and a half ago. So
what happened? Because of like, I know you got offered to go play D1 at Wisconsin to play football as well as basketball. So what made you really...
I'm aware that I'm smarter in basketball. Okay. Where football, I wasn't like the smartest. I was kind of just good because like I was physically good. Okay. Where like you don't want to be physically good at something. You want to be like mentally good at something. Yeah. So like I just wanted to go with the sport that I also enjoyed getting better at more.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Do you see basketball more as like chess?
Yeah. See, that's a great way to put it. Like I'm seeing football as literally just like run to this spot on after they say hut. Where like I see basketball as like a whole chessboard. You know what I mean?
Because like one of the things I do get while I am watching some of your plays and stuff of that nature, especially when it comes to basketball, it seems like the game, everyone else is moving slow, especially since you're a point guard, you're able to like set a lot of things up for everyone else around you. Yeah. But do you feel like it's not so much stunted your offense that you've had to bear such a load, or do you think it's actually improved in the long run?
I think so. I think when I was at Jefferson, I kind of had a huge like the scoring load was on me a ton, and so I think having everything run through me at that time, I think it was good for me in the long run. But at the time, I was super like sore, hurt all the time because everything was running through me. But I think now looking back, like now I know how to handle that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I am looked at to do a lot.
Okay. That's fair. Honestly, one of the things I was thinking about while watching your team, the first 3 years, because you went to Jefferson, then you went to Breck. Yeah. Learning how to be able to score is a lot easier than learning how to like assist and stuff of that nature. But while I'm watching your game, I feel like you want to be facilitating more than getting the bucket in the first place. Yeah. You just happen to always be able to get the bucket. So is it kind of difficult trying to like reel yourself back when you are playing? Or is it a thing where it's just like, I'm just going to go 100% no matter what's in front of me?
No, that's a great question. I think right now my biggest thing is trying to figure out a balance between scoring and passing. I find myself, I'm at Wisconsin now, I find myself turning it over at practice a lot, trying to make the extra pass instead of like bucket.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like my thing has always been like in practice I'll work on my passing and try to get every single person open and not really score too much because I know in games it'll just be instinct to just shoot it. Yeah. And so now that I'm at, a higher level
where everyone
I'm starting to need to kind of score more intentionally, if that makes sense.
Is it okay? One of the things I've noticed, especially when playing AAU, you get a chance to play with everyone that's like around your own same level. Yeah. Does it get difficult trying to go back when you're having to go back to playing high school, where it's like your role is much more in comparison? Is it difficult to switch back and forth?
It's definitely difficult to switch back when it comes to the approach that you like kind of talk to your teammates with, I think you'll play AAU and the lingo is up to par. Everyone's on the same page, and then you'll go back to high school, and it's like you kind of got to take a huge step back with the vocab you're using, and
it's not instinctual for people to just take the backdoor cut when you have
exactly right. No, exactly that.
Is it difficult trying to be a leader in that sense then?
Not at all. I think being
do you welcome it?
In any sense, I love it.
Okay. What made you love it? Because it's like that's not a thing that people just pick up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think once again, just back to my childhood, just like being pushed around and being kind of like forced into a follower role. I hated it so much for so long that like now when I don't need to be a follower, like I love it. Like having to sit and just take whatever people give me and things of that nature. Like I hated it so much that like if I'm not in that situation and I'm able to lead, like I'm gonna like attack it like with open arms.
Okay, I feel it. How is it leading when you are playing AAU? Like when you're playing for Bully?
I think that my leadership role, I think it like dims down a little bit since we're all kind of like at the same place skill wise. So there's not a ton of like things I'm needing to say.
Okay,
But then at that time I just try to be the best like leader of like getting the morale up and like things of that nature, making sure the vibes are good compared to like X's and O's, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So
how did you learn to take that step back?
I mean, it's just natural. I mean, when you don't have to tell them that's when you backdoor, that's when you come and do this, like when you no longer need to do that, you don't just like shut your mouth, you just find something else to say something about.
I feel it. How do you help actually at what point in a game, actually before we even get there, all right, how do you average so many points? Like what is it that makes you learn how to score, especially when you are a young buck trying to actually get some playing time?
I think that's a good question. I think being at the right level where you're needed to score.
Okay.
So I think that sophomore year, if I don't average 26 and I average 12, we lose a lot of games.
Okay, yeah.
Where because I average 26, we win a lot of games. So it's like if you're at a level where it's like you can go and drop 0 points and you guys will still win, it's probably not the level for you.
Okay.
Like I wanted to stand out. And so not that I chose what high school I went to, but the high school I went to was perfect because it was like, if I don't do a lot, we lose. So it was never on my mind like, okay, I'm at 20 or I'm at 19, I need to get one more. Like, but it was like, okay, we're down 4. I've got 2.5 minutes. Like I got to get to it. And then at the end of the game, I'll look up and it's 31 points. You know what I mean?
Because if it's not you, then who type of thing.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Especially, I've got a chance to meet a lot of people that did play a lot of 2A and 1A, where they were like the superstar on a smaller team. Because I went to Cristo Rey, we had an NBA player. We had Jericho Sims that was there, right? Yeah. And one of the things that I've noticed, it's one thing if you're really good in that small setting, but when you move out to like playing AAU and playing high division, you can also elevate your game too. And that's one of the things I worry about when it is a lot of people that are like, okay, let me go to the smaller school so I can stack up some points and on and on and on. How do you actually perform with on both levels then? Yeah,
I think so. I went to 2A just for my senior year because Jefferson was 4A. So I was in the biggest division for 3 years, and then going to that 2A, I thought it was more challenging in the sense of like how big of a challenge it was to not let myself just like draw back. Because, I mean, clearly the competition is going to be worse, but. So with that being said, like how am I going to go about making sure I'm still getting better? And then in practice, like we have less guys to choose from. It's a smaller school.
Yeah.
So the competition in practice might be a little worse too. How do I make sure I'm still getting better?
Okay.
And so I think with that being said, like that was kind of the what I tried to keep on the forefront of my brain is like, let's keep getting better even if the comp is a little worse.
Okay.
And I think that's why, I mean, I became a much better leader this year because if the competition's worse, like I'm not saying the team was worse, but like it is a smaller division, so it is going to be a little worse. And so figuring out how to lead, high school guys that are 2A, not even 4A, like you're asking about 4A earlier. even imagine drawing it back even more to 2A.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, one of the things I went to a big 4A, actually not even 4A, I think they're like 6A now. I went to a really big school where like the guards were big, the forwards were also big. That's one of the main two differences. We'd actually have like a center that's 6'8" instead of like 6'2". That's one of the main things. Which actually, let's speak about Breck. Why did it end up being Breck out of everywhere else?
I mean, I was gonna go out to California, and then I'd say like a month or two before I went out, some things happened, and I was like no longer kind of interested in going.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to stay in Minnesota, and I was like, where should I go? And then our house was already like I think on the market, so it was like I really could have just moved wherever. But we ended up adopting 4 kids from St. Louis Park area, and so we didn't want to take them from their school. And so we just moved into St. Louis Park, which only left me Benilde, St. Louis Park, and Breck as options. And so St. Louis Park was not the greatest at basketball. Benilde, I just didn't want to go to Benilde, to be honest. And then Breck, I was like, I know nothing about Breck. Okay. So we just chose Breck and went from there.
That's fire. That's fire. How is it having 4 youngins like look up to you now out of nowhere?
It's weird. I mean, I'm not even sure they look up to me just because we're so different. Like They come from way different backgrounds, and so I know like Naomi is her name. She's like 13 or 14. And she plays soccer, and then the other ones are like young, but they don't really care about sports like that. So it's like they're looking up to me because of my 80,000 followers on TikTok. More than the sports side of it. So it's like it's just different. So, but I mean, I enjoy it.
That's good. Speaking on social media, how do you think social media affects the way that basketball is being played right now?
I was actually talking to somebody yesterday. I almost like hate it, but I almost do it to the point where I can't even hate it. Like I was talking to them about like, bro, everyone's trying to be like some like TikTok famous like Jared McCain, but then I guess if you looked at my account, you could probably say the same thing about me. But the difference, like I can see it in their videos that they're intentionally trying to
gain the algorithm.
And I'm like, I'm just doing it because it's fun. So like I only know like 3 dances because I don't really care. I just like to dance. Where like I'm seeing like dudes like really, really care and like paying cameramen like, yo, make me a mixtape. Yo, every single Instagram post has a mixtape in it, and it's like I personally don't care about it. Like if you make me a mixtape, and I'm gonna post it. But like I'm seeing people like put so much effort and energy into things that really don't matter.
Why do you think they keep going down that route then?
I don't know, to be honest. I think, I mean, the internet's like bigger than it's ever been. So I think with that and then TikTok, I think people are just trying to be famous. I don't.
Then you personally, how does it not affect your own game then?
I just think it's so like temporary. I feel like if you were to blast off on TikTok, but your basketball like goes the opposite direction. None of those people, why would they want to continue following you if you're not even like producing anymore? Where if you keep producing in basketball,
there's more reason for people to
it's gonna follow.
I feel it. Do you feel like you've gained a lot of confidence over these past 4 years?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
How does that affect the way that you like play the game?
I think just the confidence in myself that's come from like the work I've put in.
Okay.
It kind of helps me be able to talk, and I'm not saying like talk trash or anything like that, but be able to like tell a teammate like, yo, like you ever thought of doing this way? Because like I know, and if he's been on my team for long enough, he knows I put in the work. So it's like it's not a disrespect thing if you're putting in the work. It's like, you know what, he works hard, I'm gonna just trust what he has to say. Where the confidence, before I had the confidence, it was because I wasn't putting in the work like that. And so I wasn't very credible. Now I could be credible.
That's fair. What's the difference then what's the line between being cocky and confidence then?
To be honest, I think the difference between cocky and confidence is like
production.
Not only production, because I just hosted a camp this past weekend, and that camp had all the top high schoolers at it, and so in Minnesota, Like there was a few missing, of course, but like it had a lot of the top high schoolers in it, and so that All-Star game had a lot of household names in Minnesota, in the high school basketball scene, and so being able to be like the host of it, I got to see a lot of different personalities, and a lot of different egos, and so I mean there was guys that were really good with no egos and no cockiness at all, and just confidence, and then there was guys that weren't great. But still just super, like...
They knew about themselves.
Super cocky, you know what I mean? Things of that nature. So I really don't know where the line is, but I know... I can tell the difference, and I can feel the difference when talking to somebody. And I feel like, you know, people that talk to me, I feel like they can even, like, kind of feel the difference between the cocky and the confidence. Where, like, I think I read it somewhere. It was like when you're good, you tell people. When you're great, people tell you. And so I feel like the cocky people are the good people, the people that are good, so they go and tell everybody. Where the great people tell them, so they don't need to. So like, I try not to talk about myself. Of course, I'm on a podcast, but
that's the point.
I try not to go out and talk about myself like as if I'm on some pedestal, because I know that's not what greats have to do. You know what I mean?
I feel it. What was the moment when you're like, oh yeah, I'm here?
It really hasn't set in yet, to be honest. I think I've never really looked at what I've done as like insane. Like I told somebody, I think 2 days after we won the state championship, I was booking a vacation because I went on vacation like a few days later. And like they brought up the game, and I'm like, what game are we talking about? Because NCAA was coming out soon, so I'm like, oh, like what game are we talking about? And they're like, the state championship. Like I totally forgot about the state championship 2 days after. Oh wow! So it was like I've never really looked at anything I've done as like crazy. Like there's so many bigger things that I've wanted to get, where it's like anything I've done up to this point was kind of just like a step to get in there. If that makes sense.
How were you able to win state? What was the steps that had to happen for y'all to be able to have like a nearly perfect season besides the one Washburn lost? I just read, we had a magazine made about us, or not about us, but we had a section in it. That I was reading yesterday, and all my other teammates answered that question, and a lot of them said we had friendship off the court, and we held each other accountable, and I think those two things were kind of the only really two that we needed. Like we didn't, I mean, we shot like 45% from three all season, and then shot like 18% in that state chip game. So if you do the math, we left 25 points out on the table. So we should have won by 29 if we played our average game, but we didn't. And so how did we still win that game? It came from like, okay, he's missing shots, I'm missing shots. Like, how can we get through it? And we got through it because we've held each other accountable for so long, and we're such good friends that we didn't need to like fall back on our 3-point percentage or this or that. So I think just being every single person on the team being able to like grab someone else and tell them to work harder. Things of that nature. I think that's what got us there. That's fire. At what point did you know you guys were going to win the game?
I mean, shoot. It really...
And was there like a wave of joy? Like, wow, we're really about to bring the first championship to Brick.
Yeah. I think it hit me. So I think there's like a minute, 33 seconds left, something along those lines. I had it on the right wing. I gave it up, got it back, and then went by my guy on the right, and then finished it like whatever type of finish I did. After it went in, or actually, hold on, let me backtrack. So as I was doing that layup, it brought me back. I missed the layup in overtime junior year against Egan in overtime with around a minute and 30 seconds left, and I missed it, and we ended up losing that game by one possession. So I almost lost us our season last year on a right-hand layup on the right side. So when I got back to that spot, that's all that was going through my mind. So after I watched it roll in, like I heard, like, it's super loud in there, of course. Like a go-ahead bucket with a minute left, you can assume how loud it was. But all I heard was JP, he's like our power forward. He yelled like, "Let's go, Daniel," or something like that. But the joy on his face made me realize, like, I think that bucket just won us the game. Like, no matter what happens, I think that bucket really just won us the game.
How would you describe your game then? If you're able to be everywhere on the court, if it's not offensively, it's defensively, it's facilitating, all being a leader, how would you describe it?
Yeah, I think I've thought about this answer, and I don't really have one. I think it's just I'm useful. So I think like at Jefferson, like if you were to watch me then, it's like, okay, he lacks passing vision, you know, not a super team guy because I was taking so many shots and I was like not patting myself, but like scoring so many points because I needed to. But then I go to Breck and it's like passing and facilitating way better. And then I go to Wisconsin and now I'm like sitting here focusing on my defense more than anything. So like I think I'm just useful wherever kind of the team needs me.
The way that I feel like I'll describe it would be more so a defensive facilitating wing would be the main way that I would put it, because of one of the things you've said throughout a lot of your interviews. They usually do not highlight how much defense you usually play, even though you get like 2.5 steals a game.
Yeah.
What is it about being able to play defense that makes you proud of playing defense?
Yeah. I mean, being 6'2.5", 6'3", everyone across the country can score, and I'm aware of that. Like I'm aware that I don't have the best jumper in the country and the best handle and all these things on offense, but on defense, like no one's working on defense. Like the last time I walked into a gym and watched like people work on their defense by themselves, never. I've never seen it. So like if I can work on my defense, you know, 10 minutes a day, but not even 10 minutes a day, if I could just go to practice and think like I'm gonna work on my defense today, how big of an edge I'm getting on everyone else. Because if no one else works on their defense and I work on it just a little bit every day, like eventually the gap is gonna grow.
Yeah.
So
how do you learn how to play defense? Because I've never heard someone say going and practicing playing defense.
I mean, if it's something no one else is doing, you can really just thinking about it is a bigger advantage. Like if like I have a teammate who never thinks about his defense, never, unless coach is telling him like, yo, like lock in. Like if he's giving it zero mind, if I'm giving it 3 minutes and 30 seconds of mine every day, even that is an advantage.
There's hours and days that go by.
So like even if I'm not sitting there doing defensive slides, like just thinking about it helps me somehow. You know, so
was that one of the ways that you went from being a no star to a 4-star out of nowhere?
Because it seemed like you didn't have any, you weren't nationally known until like, I'll say end of sophomore year, end of junior year.
Yeah, that's accurate.
So how would you describe such a big jump?
I think, man, it was really just the idea of just like locking in. Like once I figured out like this is really what I want to do, I think that's when football started taking a backseat.
Okay.
And I think that's when I really started to gain the confidence and everything, like in my swagger. Like I feel like that's when everything started to kind of click. And so it definitely wasn't easy, but it was easier once you get that confidence in yourself and that like once you start walking with that swagger, like not actual swagger, but like feeling confident in yourself. Like it makes everything tremendously easier.
Do you think that you're going to be able to dominate the college level the way you were dominating the high school level?
Once again, like I know as of right now, like any of my teammates or my coaches, anyone that's been seeing me play the last like 2-3 months, it's kind of like, okay, like it's probably been like this guy was a 4-star, but like I said, like once I can get confident, once I can like, okay, I belong at this level, like I can really like dominate this level. I think once it starts clicking for me, it'll show. But as of right now, I mean, I'm not dominating it right now. Like at practice and stuff like that. I'm
still
not.
A new field.
But I think with time and with like the reps I put in, I feel like it's inevitable. Like I don't know anyone who's like practiced something more than everyone else. Not saying that that's me, but if I practice something more than 99% of people, like over time, how could I not get better? You know what I mean? How could I not end up dominating if I'm working as much as the top 1%?
What's your main thing you're trying to work on?
Man, I mean, I think college like basketball is a whole different game. Like it didn't even feel like basketball. Like the physicality, you know, the lingo we use, how fast you have to pick up on plays. The of course they're friendly, but like the teammates that aren't like super friendly, because it's like we are competing for a spot right now.
I'm trying to go to the NBA.
Exactly right. So if everyone is kind of trying to make that league and trying to be in the starting lineup, you know, it's a lot different than high school. And so I think, I mean, with time, I think it'll be straight.
Okay. I feel that. One of the things my brother was telling me about, because he got a chance to play college ball, It's really difficult, especially if you're a shot chucker, because of you're not allowed to have bad shots. Like you'll actually get pulled down to sit. Is it difficult trying to like figure out when to take shots?
Not for me. I mean, I don't. Nothing about me. Like I get no like rush from taking any bad shots or even scoring. Like I get my rushes from like getting the team involved and or getting a stop or making a hustle play or something. So I never really. Like, you could ask the guys at Wisconsin, like, I'm never really sitting here doing some sidestep, crazy long three, like anything like that, because I don't gain anything from that, like, personally. Yeah. So I think definitely for all the shot chuckers out there, I feel bad for y'all, but, like, it ain't me. So
I feel it. Real quick before we move on, we mentioned this earlier. How would you, what advice would you give someone that's, like, watching, that's, like, let's say they're 13, they're about to start high school here.
What are the best ways to start learning how to get comfortable scoring
and not being so much in your head while it does come to the game?
I think with reps being live and being full speed, you gain a feel for, you know, how the game will be. So, like, I know for me, sophomore year was the time that I was doing a lot of 3-on-3 with my friends.
Oh, yeah.
And that 3v3, like, we weren't BSing. Like, we were going at it. Every game was competitive. Like, we didn't need to bet money. We didn't need to bet sprints on it. Like, we were playing because we wanted to win.
Yeah.
And so when you play 3-on-3, and I actually prefer 3-on-3.
Okay.
Because it's like there's enough guys on the court where it's like this isn't just ball hog basketball, ISO basketball, but there's less guys on the court than where it's like I'm barely ever touching the ball. You know what I mean? Like fives, you're touching it every 3 possessions. You're not getting any better. With threes, like make it take it. Like I've had my teammates, I'm sitting there guarding him 9 possessions in a row and he's scoring on me. Like that does something. And so like you go from that and then I've had my turns of scoring 9 times in a row. And then the next day you have a game, you don't think it'll carry over. And
that's
so
fair.
I'd say setting up cones and all that, that's smart. But I think playing live is where, you know, most of my experiences come from.
I feel that. What teams did your eyes light up against when you did face them?
In high school?
Yeah, in high school, yeah.
Man, Minneapolis North.
Okay.
I'm thinking this year. So Minneapolis North, I kind of just like their vibes, like packed crowd, loud crowd, like kind of chippy, like things of that nature. I rocked with that. We ended up beating them both times. Let's see. Minnehaha. I know they had a few guys.
I have a question over that. Ever since they lost so many NBA guys, has there been like a power vacuum in 2A? Because I remember when I went, they had like a span of like 6-7 years of just always knowing they're about to go get a ring. So is there like a power vacuum there?
So like a power vacuum? What does that mean?
Like there's actually a chance for you to get the ring this year.
Shoot, I mean, probably. I think. I mean, if Breck didn't win it, it was in the air for anybody, to be honest. So, because we were the number 1 team from start to finish, preseason all the way to now.
Oh, okay.
And so I think if we weren't like there, if we didn't exist, it definitely was in the air. But not yet. Minnehaha, they definitely. I mean, you lose 2 NBA players, you're gonna have a drop off.
Of course.
So.
What was 40? You did like a 40 pose when you did face against Minnehaha. Yeah, what was that?
First play of the game, he like tackled me. I'm trying to go up and dunk. And so I was telling my coach to don't sub me out until I get 40.
Oh, wow.
Because, I'm aware that I could get it. But a few times that season, I'm subbed out 33 points with 8 minutes left, things of that nature. So basically, I was telling him, like, don't sub me out till I get to 40. And that's not even like an arrogant thing. Like, that's not like play me in garbage time. He just had a habit of subbing me out constantly when I'm right there on the verge of something. Okay.
And you wanted to prove a point this game?
Right. So, like, you're going to tackle me. Like, I'm going to put 40 up. But, I don't think it ended up being close enough for me to even get 40. Like, I think I had like 24 or something like that. And I think we took our starters out with like 7 minutes. So.
Yeah, no, it was pretty rough. It was definitely pretty rough.
That was a good memory though. I like how you knew about the 40.
Question. Okay, so where did you rank at the end of your senior year? Was it like I think it was around like 120.
Oh, in the nation?
Yeah, nation 115, and then you were like number 2 in the state, like now.
Yeah. So I think
I know in the state right now I'm 4.
Okay.
And then in the country, like 51. And I actually like talking about this because it's like, to go from 37th in the country to 150 something, to most people it's like damn, I suck now. Where like I very much enjoy that I'm super far behind, because now it's like when I get to where I want to go, it's gonna be like, don't forget y'all, like I was considered 153. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think a lot of people look at those rankings and really care.
Okay.
Where I look at those rankings and I don't care even a little bit. Like really all it is you or me getting on a website and just dragging a name up and down. So like I'm gonna care about what somebody sitting behind a desk dragging my name up or down. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't really care.
Yeah, one of the things when it does come to ranking, I find it weird because it's like, let's say you're 150 and then you go and play against a team that had like a top 10 player, right? And you just go for 40 and win the game. Do they have to now restart the whole thing? Right. How are you able to actually set up an individual and rank them in comparison to everybody else, since the game is just completely widely different from everybody around you? So
yeah,
that's one of the things I've always noticed. Question about the Daniel Freitag camp. What made you want to start it?
Once again, like I feel like I like to be a lot more than just a basketball player. I see a lot of guys that are just basketball players and their whole personality is basketball, where it's like you go up and talk to them at the state fair and now somehow we're talking about your 23-point performance, where it's like, we're at the state fair, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Or it's the off season of the basketball. Or even like, I know we've all talked to those 40-year-old unks where it's like they're talking about their high school days. Like that's the last thing I want to be. So I kind of try to pride myself on being good at other things. And so I think that camp was made by me head to toe. Like I've got my MacBook in my bag and that has a bookmark with the website that I created and the spreadsheets that I had to make, the documents of the agendas and the concessions prices, everything head to toe was me. And so I like to pride myself on that. And think about like, you know what, if I can host such a successful camp this year, like what can I do when the ball stops bouncing in 20 years? You know what I mean? So I try to get a head start now.
What was the exact day when you're like, okay, I want to do this? Because I feel like it takes a lot to be like, all right, one day I'm going to have 100 kids come and just hang out at my own camp with my name everywhere.
Yeah, so I rolled my ankle right before the season and then played on that really, really bad ankle all season. Went on that vacation the next week. And then when I got back from vacation, it was all intentional, like the times. When I got back from vacation, I got surgery immediately. Okay. And so that surgery, I had to have my foot up for 21 hours per day for 2 weeks. So basically all day. Like I'm not getting up and doing nothing. So in bed, like I made a goal. And I had, for those 2 weeks, I wanted to finish 3 books and make a camp. And so I ended up making the camp. I think I only got like 1 book. But I only got 1 book because I was spending 15 hours on that camp. I mean, to bring a camp from scratch, like literally, like if I told you to make a football camp right now, you probably haven't thought about a football camp ever. So if you had from now until 2 weeks from now to have an entire camp made, it's pretty difficult. So I'm sitting, security, food, workers, like tracking the expenses, everything like that, like making an LLC, like everything like that. It's pretty difficult. So I was spending more time per day working on that camp than I wasn't. You know, I'm having my mom like almost bringing me food because I'm not even going upstairs. Like I'm sitting here grinding the camp. So, but I've always loved the idea of like bringing a community together, like things of that nature. So.
Do you think that there's a lot of lacking in community here in Minnesota? Because like one of the things I've noticed over the past couple of years, we've had so many NBA guys, so many talented guys, but there's not that much buzz around this state besides like the last, I'd say, year, 6 months. So do you think there's like a lacking in people actually putting in that effort to make Minnesota like a household place?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I like to think we're on the uprise. So, like, I like to think, like, Paige is putting us on the map.
Paige, Suggs,
like,
Chet.
Suggs, Chet. Like, even Tyus and Trey, like, Jones, they're doing their thing. But I just think of it like, I don't know if they have camps. But I think things like that, like, I would have always wanted to participate in something like that. Like, I didn't have a million opportunities when I was younger. But, like, if Suggs had a camp and he had walked up to me and dapped me up and said, what's up, man, and knew my name, like that would have made a huge difference for me growing up. So like that's why I'm not saying I'm on their level, but that's why like when I realized that I had the opportunity to host a camp and people would actually come and like
You'd be excited to be a part.
About it. Like I knew I had to go, and then I knew I had to make it. And I'm getting the DMs from kids like, man, I would love to be at your camp, but we just can't afford it. And I'm reading that, and hopefully this doesn't just like make everyone text me that, but I'm reading that and I'm just, what's your name? And just throwing you in. And there was so many kids I let into the camp for free because it's like, that used to be me. And so like, I've always viewed the people with big names and like big followings, like why not give back? Not give back. I'm not saying I was giving back, but like almost just give back to kids that are excited to meet you. You know what I mean?
Of course. Where you were speaking about a couple of people that have given back to the city. Who have been some of your favorite players to play against and play with over your past time as a basketball player? Even from your Spartan days, your Pulley days, all over.
That was a good pull. Spartans, that was a long time ago. One of my favorite players to play with, Jax McAndrew.
Okay.
He's like the #1 player in the state right now. You know, I enjoyed playing with him. I played with him for like 4 years, but he started taking over like the last 2 years. So like these last 2 years have been really good.
Okay.
Man, Hayden Holland, he was like my shooting guard when I was a sophomore. So that was who I was playing 3-on-3 with. Samir Jones, I was playing 3-on-3 with him. Like those guys, like it was guys that I had a bond with. And, like it's not always the other top players that I enjoy playing with. Like it was kind of like a lot of times it was just like the guys that I was going back to the hotel room with, and we're just like kicking it, playing video games. And then we go on the court and they're not getting in or I'm not getting in. Like we didn't have to be the top guys. Like it was whoever I like messed with personality wise, to be honest.
I feel that. Who has cooked you the most?
Out of everyone?
Out of everybody.
It would have to be somebody on my team.
Word. Okay.
See them every day.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Man, who's cooked me the most? Probably this past year, either Hanif Muhammad or Miles Newton. Okay. And so that was my senior year at Breck. So like, we're practicing every day, and I mean we're like scrimmaging and stuff like every day. So it was inevitable they were gonna give me, and I got them back too. Don't trip. But
of course.
They got their fair share on me for sure.
Question: have you ever got a chance to play against David Roddy yet?
When we played his pro-am team, he wasn't there. So I haven't got to play against him. Yeah, nah, I haven't got to.
Damn. Because I was saying,
hopefully.
Of course. Do you think you're going to the league?
I see. So we have a senior speech.
Okay.
So when you're a senior at Breck, there's only like 100 of us per class every year. You do a speech that's like 6 to 7 minutes long in front of the whole school. And so I did mine, and it ended with, I don't think I'm going to the NBA. I know I'm going to the NBA.
Fire.
I would say that's my answer this time too.
I feel it. What about you makes you think that you're going to get there?
Things like the camp, and like things like who's your favorite teammate, or who have your favorite players been to play with, and being the guys that are in the hotel. Like I think people buy from people. Like that you could be selling like rice, but if people like you, they'll buy
that rice.
So like I think people also draft people. They don't draft basketball players. So
that's fair.
I think people that like know me and get to know me, I think that will. I mean, I can hoop too, but like I think like my character has gotten me a lot of places that just being good at basketball can't get you.
That's true.
And so I think that'll continue to get me to where I want to go, if that makes sense.
I feel it. Who are you excited to play against once you head over to Wisconsin?
I don't know why. I was thinking about that on the way here.
Okay.
I really don't have any names picked out. Like I really just have like goals set out. So it's like just things I want to achieve.
Such as?
I mean, I know Wisconsin hasn't been to like the Sweet 16 in a while, and then like I don't even want to stop at the Sweet 16 though. Like I know everyone wants to shoot for the national championship, but like every single game past the Sweet 16 or even in March Madness, like I just want to stack wins, and even if it's not March Madness, like I just want to stack wins for real. Like what I enjoy is like getting on the bus with my teammates and we're all like have good vibes. Like so even if we win, like I was gonna say one game, but I wouldn't even be content with that. You know what I mean? So just as many games as possible, just so I could feel that energy and like
the vibes with my teammates.
I feel it. We're getting close to the end. I got a few more things to ask. Okay. Why do you hate the Celtics?
On my Twitter?
Yeah.
I just hate stacked teams. And
that's fair.
It's hard to say that coming from Breck. Like, we were pretty stacked, but I just hate stacked teams. Like, I like teams like the Wolves. Like, we have Ant, and you could say that's a stacked team, but like we have Ant, like high personality dude, and then he's got his guys. Where like the Celtics, there's something about Tatum that I don't like. Hopefully this never ends up being relevant, but there's something about Tatum I just don't like. And they're like, actually, hold on, there was another saying. It's like, it's some TikTok saying. It's like, I'm not scared of like an army of lions led by a sheep. I'm scared of an army of sheep led by a lion. And so I look at the Celtics as like a bunch of lions led by a sheep. Like Tatum's a sheep. But then I view like the Wolves and then like wherever LeBron's at, like it could be an army full of sheep. But if they're led by a lion, like that's who I'm rocking with.
I feel it. Who are some of your favorite NBA players?
I like Ant. I like just Lions, really. Like I like Ant. I like LeBron. I like. He might not be a Lion. I mean, he might be, but like I like Kyrie.
Okay,
he be in all that.
He tough.
I don't know what he does off the court, but like I just like how he plays the game. Shoot, I'm trying to think of somebody like underrated. Like, everyone likes the guys already named.
Yeah.
Shoot. I guess I'm blanking.
I feel it. I'll just say DeMar. DeMar tough.
You like DeMar DeRozan?
Yeah, that's tough. That's
real.
Yeah, a man out of time. But beyond the point, what last question? Actually, I got two more. One, what is one thing you're gonna bring towards your Wisconsin time at Wisconsin?
Like bring to the people at Wisconsin when I get there?
For the fans, the coaches, the teammates, all that.
Hopefully just like some smiles, to be honest, man. I just like I feel like if the vibes are good, like the hoop will figure itself out. Clearly I'm gonna put in the work and all that, and my main focus is the work. But like I hate just basketball players, man. Like I love like guys that can play basketball, and like you know what I mean, like crack a joke and be cool. So like I'm hoping to bring the locker room like some smiles and like bring the vibes up. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's lacking in a lot of places. Not just Wisconsin. Of course,
I feel it. But last question, I like to do this after every episode. What is some advice that you wish you can give yourself when you're younger?
Man, can I do like multiple things?
Yeah, go for it.
So advice to my younger self, how old are we talking?
Let's say 12, 13.
12, 13, I'd probably say like social media doesn't matter, rankings don't matter, because that took me like 2 years to figure after I was 12.
Okay.
I was probably like 15 when I realized, like when I really stopped caring about social media.
Word, okay.
And rankings. Like clearly I'm on social media and like I care about my footprint on there, but like caring about it to the point where you're waking up and going on it, like doesn't matter. Girls don't matter, they'll always be there. I think the work. So there was another saying, it's like, it's not like a catchy saying, but it's something along the lines of like don't force your opportunity, just be ready for your opportunity. And so like, I think when I was younger, I did a lot of like forcing my opportunity, trying to get in front of the right people. But then when I was there, I wasn't ready.
Oh,
yeah,
like,
if I could go back and tell my younger self something, it would be like, don't even worry about the opportunity. Just make sure you're ready when it comes. And so there's that. I would say write everything down. I would say just keep being a good person. Shoot. I'm trying to think of like one more thing. I'd probably say quit football, to be honest. But that's probably all I'd say to younger me.
I feel it. All right, I say thank you for pulling up. This has been very fun.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed it. All right, y'all. We out.